Once upon a time, a bald young man lived with his grandmother, who had a house by a river. One day, a merchant was passing by with a caravan near the city and was looking for someone to accept him as his companion. Ironically, he came across the bald who had gone to collect firewood from the desert and said, "You bald head, come with me and I will give you whatever you want in return." The bald agreed and said, "On the condition that I tell my grandmother," and hurriedly ran towards the house. No matter how much grandmother cried that "You are my only son," it had no effect. Finally, the bald head left with the businessman. The merchant tied a big ram on the camel with long horns. They went until they reached a high mountain in the desert. The merchant immediately took down the ram, cut off its head, roasted its meat, ate it and showed it to the bald man and said, "How beautiful it is! It is as tall as you, go between it and see." The bald man got into the skin of the ram and the merchant immediately tied the 4 hands and feet of the skin of the ram and took him to the side of the mountain and sat in ambush in a corner. An hour later, a big eagle came down and took the skin with the poor man inside to the top of the mountain and tore the skin with its claws and beak. The bald man, who came out, chased away the eagle with a stone, and the eagle, seeing that he could not compete with him, soared. The bald saw as far as his eyes could see the pieces of diamond shining like thousands of pieces of crystal. When he came in front of the mountain, the merchant saw him and said, "O bald, if you want me to bring you down, drop as many diamonds as you can." The bald also poured and poured. He said, "O merchant, bring me down now." The merchant, who was a cunning man, laughed heartily and said, "O bald, this mountain has no way down," and moved with the caravan.
The bald was left alone. He missed his grandmother. As he tried to find the way down, the mountain was smooth as glass, until his eyes fell on the bones of a human being lying on the side of the mountain, and he learned about the trick of the merchant. He was sitting sad and sighing for his grandmother when his eyes fell on a beautiful mountain pigeon that had a nest in the back of the mountain and had come to collect seeds for his chicks. The pigeon also saw the man. His heart was burning and he came forward and said, "What are you doing here, O bald head?" The man explained the situation and said, "O mountain pigeon, there is a river under the mountain where I am friends with the fish. Go and sit on the water and tell how bald man is doing." A mountain pigeon took wings and went to the water and shouted, "O fishes, fishes, the bald head is stuck on the mountain and has no way to come down." As soon as the pigeon finished speaking, suddenly there was a movement in the river water and thousands of big and small fish came on the water. The queen of fishes said, "O beautiful mountain pigeon, we all lean on each other. Tell the man not to be afraid and jump down. We will bring him safely to the river." The mountain pigeon immediately returned to the man and told the story. The bald, who was confident in the loyalty of the fishes, jumped down from the top of the mountain. He felt lightened. A little later, his foot landed on the back of the fish, which were arranged like thousands of small and big pots. A young fish took him on his back and brought him to the shore. The man thanked the fishes for their sacrifice and went to bring some bread and threw it into the river. Time was passing. Years later, when he went to the desert one day to collect firewood, he happened to meet the same merchant. The merchant was surprised to see the bald and said with flattery and fear, "O man, how did you come down?" The bald also answered, "Very simple, from the way that was behind the mountain." The merchant, who was a greedy and money-loving person, said to himself, "This time I will go myself and drop all the diamonds there are, and then I will also destroy him." He said to bald man, "Will you come with me?" The bald head, who was thinking about revenge, said, "Of course," and left with the merchant. The merchant cut off the head of his ram again and went inside the skin, and the bald man tightly tied the skin's hands and feet and took it to the mountainside. An hour later, the eagle was found and he took the skin and took it to the top of the mountain and tore the skin with its claws and beak. The merchant immediately jumped out and attacked the eagle with a stone and crawled into a corner. The eagle soared. The merchant came to the edge of the mountain and said, "O bald head, take whatever I drop down." And he dropped many diamonds. The bald also collected all the diamonds and loaded the camels. The merchant said, "O bald head, now tell me where is the way you came down." The bald laughed heartily and said, "Look around you. Look at how many innocent people you have sacrificed for your love of money. There is no way to this mountain. Stay and see the result of your crimes." No matter how much the merchant cried and lamented, it was of no use. The bald took the camels and started walking. Along the way, he gave diamonds to poor people and told the story of the businessman's engagement to the people until he reached home. Every day, the bald used to pour a lot of bread into the river for the fishes, and the grandmother, who had heard about the goodness of the fishes, also treated the fishes with the bald. After that the bald went to the merchant house and married with merchant's wife and lived for years.